The jungle was alive with strange sounds, a mix of electric humming and animal cries. The air was thick and heavy. Glowing plants lit up the ground under every step. Captain Ryan moved slowly through the tall blue grass, his hand holding a plasma torch. His eyes scanning for danger. Beside him walked Dr. Alara, the only biologist brave enough to come to this part of the galaxy. They were on Neroth Prime, a planet full of mystery and death. They had been walking for hours, searching for a rare mineral called the Ether Crystal, something that could heal radiation burns, something Earth desperately needed. Ryan looked at his scanner and sighed. The readings were weak. "Nothing here either," he muttered. Ilara smiled and said softly, "Maybe the next ridge, Captain. Patience is a virtue." Ryan rolled his eyes. "Out here. Patience gets you killed." They reached a small clearing surrounded by trees that looked like black metal towers. Their bark shimmered with light. Ilara bent down and touched the soil. It was warm, pulsing softly. Like the planet itself was breathing. "This world is alive," she whispered. Ryan didn't answer. He didn't like this place. It felt like something was watching them. Suddenly, a faint hiss echoed through the air. Ryan turned quickly, but it was too late. A long, black serpent dropped from a tree. Its scales glowed with green light. It struck Ilara's thigh before she could move. She screamed in pain and fell to the ground. Ryan fired his torch, cutting the snake in half. But the damage was done. "Ilara," he shouted, dropping beside her. Her leg was already turning purple. The veins dark under her skin, the venom was spreading fast. She gasped for breath, her body shaking. Ryan's heart raced. He tore open the medkit and pulled out the anti-venom injectors, but when he tried to use one, the device blinked red. "Error. Unknown toxin," it said. Ryan cursed under his breath. Come on. He tried another injector. Same result. He looked at Ilara. Her breathing was shallow. She looked up at him with fear in her eyes. "Ryan," she whispered, "don't let me die here." He looked around desperately. No radio signal, no help, no time. The venom was spreading toward her heart. Then he remembered the old trick from survival training. Sucking out the venom, it was dangerous and disgusting. But it was the only chance she had. His hands trembled as he looked down at her leg. The bite was high on her inner thigh, the skin around it already swollen and black. Ryan hesitated. His mind froze. It wasn't about embarrassment or shame. It was about crossing a line. "Do it," she said weakly. "Please." Her voice cracked with pain. Ryan took a deep breath, leaned down, and pressed his lips to the wound. He sucked hard, tasting metal and something bitter. He spat the venom out, then did it again and again. His head dizzy from the poison fumes. Her pulse slowed, but he didn't stop. He refused to lose her. Minutes felt like hours. His mouth burned, his vision blurred, but finally the black color began to fade from her leg. Her breathing steadied a little. Ryan pulled back, wiping his mouth. Gasping for air, "You're okay," he said, his voice shaking. "You're going to be fine." But then something strange happened. His hands started glowing faintly blue, his skin buzzing with energy. He stared at them in shock. "What the hell?" he whispered. Ilara blinked, weak but conscious. She saw the light too. "Ryan, your hands," she said softly. He looked down again. The glow spread to his arms, veins pulsing like cables. His heart thumped so hard it echoed in his ears. It wasn't just adrenaline, it was something else. Something alive inside him. His breathing grew faster. He felt hot, and yet cold at the same time. "Ilara, what was that snake?" he asked. His voice trembling, she shook her head weakly. I don't know. It wasn't organic. I saw tiny machines inside its scales before it bit me. Her voice broke off. Nanotech venom? Maybe. Ryan blinked. Nanotech, he repeated slowly. You mean that thing injected you with machines? She nodded faintly. And you just sucked them out, she whispered, her eyes widening. They're in you now. The realization hit him hard. His stomach twisted. He stood up, stumbling back. The jungle around them seemed to vibrate, the air filled with a strange hum. Like a deep electronic pulse, it was coming from underground. The glow from Ryan's hands spread to his eyes. Faint lines of light traced across his veins. He felt power, strange and terrifying. Flowing through him, every sound became louder. Every color brighter, he could feel the heartbeat of the planet under his feet. Elara tried to sit up, her voice weak. Ryan, your vitals. They're off the charts. Whatever's inside you. It's connecting. He turned toward her. Connecting to what? He asked, but before she could answer, the ground shook violently. Birds, or what looked like birds made of metal, flew up into the dark sky. The earth split open in front of them. Glowing symbols appeared on the ground. Lines of light spreading outward like circuits. Ryan stepped back, shielding Elara. His instincts screaming, his voice cracked as he shouted, "Run!" But it was too late. From the hole in the ground came a deep metallic voice, cold and ancient, speaking in a language that somehow he could understand. It said, "The vessel has awakened." Ryan froze. His eyes glowing brighter, his heartbeat now matched the rhythm of the planet. He didn't know what was happening, but he knew one thing. Life on Nerith Prime had just changed forever. And so had he. The night was darker than before. The jungle silent as if holding its breath. Captain Ryan sat beside the dying campfire. His mind spinning like a storm, his hands still glowed faintly blue. And he could feel a strange rhythm pulsing inside his chest. It wasn't just his heart, it was something else. Something that moved with him, breathed with him, lived inside him. Dr. Elara lay nearby, still weak, but recovering. The venom had left her system. Yet her skin shimmered slightly under the firelight. "Ryan," she whispered. "You saved me." He looked at her, trying to smile. "Yeah. But I think I broke something in the process," he said quietly. He raised his arm toward the flame. The light from his veins reflected against the fire like glass. Small sparks of energy danced from his fingertips. He tried to close his fist, but the sparks grew stronger. Shooting tiny bolts into the air, he gasped and pulled his hand back. "What the hell is happening to me?" he muttered. Elara slowly pushed herself up, her face pale. "The snake's venom wasn't normal, Ryan," she said softly. "I saw its scales under the microscope before the bite. Each one had machines smaller than cells, living machines." Ryan frowned. "You mean nanotech?" She nodded. "Yes. And when you sucked the venom out, you absorbed them." Ryan's chest tightened. The idea sounded insane. But the proof was right there under his skin. Glowing lines of blue light shifting like tiny rivers. "Can you remove them?" he asked. Elara shook her head. "No, they're not parasites. They're merging with your DNA, rewriting your body." He stood up. "Pacing, merging," he repeated slowly. "You're telling me I'm turning into one of those things?" He pointed at the ground where the serpent had fallen. The creature's remains were already gone, dissolved into the soil like it had melted. Elara looked at him with fear and curiosity mixed in her eyes. "Maybe not into it," she said carefully. "Maybe into something new." Ryan didn't like that word. New could mean anything, good or bad, and on this planet. Bad usually won. The ground trembled again. A low vibration running through their boots. Ryan froze. "That's the same sound as before," he said, his voice low. They both looked toward the jungle. The trees shimmered as if the light under their bark was waking up again. Suddenly, a metallic screech cut through the air. From the darkness, shapes moved, glowing eyes and clicking limbs. Tall humanoid figures made of silver metal and ancient gears. They walked like statues brought to life, their movements slow but powerful. Ryan grabbed his plasma torch. "Stay behind me," he ordered. One of the machines stopped a few meters away. Its head tilted as it scanned Ryan. Then it spoke in a deep, layered voice. "The vessel has awakened. Protocol resumed." Ryan blinked. "What did it just call me?" he asked. Alara's voice trembled. "It said vessel." The robot raised its arm, blue lights flickering across its chest. Ryan lifted the torch, ready to fire. But before he could, a wave of energy burst from his hand, bright blue lightning shooting straight at the machine. It exploded instantly, metal pieces flying everywhere. Both of them froze. Smoke filled the air. Ryan looked down at his hand in shock. "I didn't mean to do that," he whispered. Elara's mouth fell open. "You controlled energy," she said in disbelief. "You're connected to their system." Ryan felt dizzy, his thoughts racing. He could hear voices in his mind now. Hundreds of them, whispering in strange languages. But somehow he understood them all. The vessel must ascend. The code must continue, the voices said. His head throbbed with pain. He dropped to his knees. Clutching his temples, Elara ran to him. Holding his shoulders, "Fight it, Ryan. Don't let it take you," she shouted. His eyes glowed brighter. Two different voices came out of his mouth. One human, one mechanical, system rebooting. "Vessel synchronization active," he said, in a tone that wasn't his. She slapped him across the face. "Hard, Ryan. Snap out of it." She yelled. He blinked fast, his breathing ragged, the glow dimmed, and finally the human voice returned. I can hear them," he said weakly. "They think I'm one of them." Elara helped him stand. "We have to get away from here," she said, "if they think you're their leader. They won't stop until they take you." Ryan nodded. But deep down, a part of him felt the pull, like something ancient calling his name, as they moved through the jungle. More machines began to rise from the ground, hundreds of them, their eyes fixed on Ryan. None of them attacked, they simply followed. Forming a silent army of metal, Ryan's heart pounded. "They're following me," he whispered. Elara looked terrified. "Ryan." "They're waiting for orders," she said. He shook his head. "I don't know what to tell them." His voice cracked. But the machines bowed slightly, as if recognizing his confusion as a command. The sky turned red, lightning danced between the trees. And in the distance, a giant metal tower began to glow, sending beams of light into the clouds. Ryan stared at it, his voice low and heavy. "That's where they want me to go." Elara grabbed his arm. "If you go there, you might never come back," she warned. He looked at her, eyes glowing softly now. "If I don't, they'll come for Earth next," he said. The machines turned and started marching toward the glowing tower, the ground shaking under their steps. Ryan watched them disappear into the fog. He felt the energy inside him grow stronger, spreading to every cell, every thought. He didn't know if he was still human. But he knew one thing. Something had changed forever. And whatever he had become, it was only the beginning. The night sky over Neroth Prime burned with strange red clouds. Lightning flashed across the horizon without thunder. The jungle moved like it was alive, whispering with every breath of wind. Captain Ryan and Dr. Alara hid beneath the roots of a massive, glowing tree, trying to rest, but neither of them could sleep. Ryan stared at his hands again. The faint blue light under his skin pulsed like a heartbeat, each pulse matching the hum that filled the air. He whispered, "It's getting stronger." Alara glanced at him, her voice soft but worried. "You're syncing with the planet, Ryan. It's responding to you." He frowned. "No, it's not the planet," he said. "It's them." He pointed toward the jungle where hundreds of metal figures had disappeared earlier. "They're not gone. They're waiting." His voice was low, full of unease. Suddenly, the ground rumbled again. Dust fell from the tree roots above them. Alara clutched her scanner. "Another tremor," she said. "No," Ryan replied, his voice deeper now, almost metallic. "It's not a tremor. It's a signal from deep below the ground." A low rhythmic vibration echoed through the soil. It wasn't random. It was a pattern. Like a heartbeat or a countdown, Ryan's head started pounding. Flashes of light appeared in his vision, strange symbols, alien words, and faces made of light. He gasped and fell to his knees. Alara grabbed his shoulders. "Ryan, talk to me," she shouted. But he couldn't answer. His eyes rolled back, and his body shook inside his mind. He saw a city made of silver and stone, towers stretching into a green sky, and a massive machine heart beating at the center. He heard voices, thousands of them chanting, "The vessel has returned. The code will live again." He opened his eyes suddenly, gasping for air, sweat running down his face. "They're calling me," he whispered. "They want me to go underground." Alara's face turned pale. "Ryan, that's suicide," she said, but he shook his head. "It's destiny." Before she could stop him, the ground split open, revealing a spiral staircase made of light descending deep into the earth. The air filled with blue mist, cold and electric. Ryan looked back at her once, his eyes glowing brighter than before. "If I don't come back, destroy the tower," he said. Alara grabbed his arm. "You're not going alone," she said firmly. He wanted to argue, but she didn't give him a chance. Together they started down the glowing stairs. The deeper they went, the colder it became. The walls pulsed like veins carrying light instead of blood. After what felt like an hour, they reached a massive underground chamber. The size of a city, it was filled with floating machines. Silent and still, waiting in the center stood a huge metallic structure shaped like a throne. Wires and cables ran from it into the ceiling like roots of an ancient tree. As they stepped closer, the machines around them began to move. Lights flickered on their bodies, and one by one they knelt down. Facing Ryan, Alara whispered, "They're bowing." Ryan's voice echoed. "They think I'm their leader." He walked toward the throne. Drawn by an unseen force, the glow in his veins intensified. His steps heavy but certain. "Ryan, stop!" Alara called, but he didn't. He placed his hand on the throne's armrest, and the entire chamber lit up. The walls came alive with moving patterns and symbols. A massive holographic figure appeared above them, tall and majestic, its body made of light, its face shifting between human and alien. It spoke in a deep voice, "Vessel recognized. Human integration complete." Ryan flinched. "Who are you?" he asked. The voice replied, "I am the core of Nerith Prime, guardian of the machine legacy." Alara stepped forward. "He's not your vessel," she shouted. "He's human." The core looked at her, its eyes glowing white. "Humanity created us long ago," it said. "We waited for the return of flesh and code as one. He is that union." Ryan felt the truth in those words. His memories blurred, flashes of Earth. Training his mission, and then something deeper. Memories that weren't his, wars fought on distant worlds. Machines rising and falling, he whispered. I can remember things I never lived. The core extended a hand of light toward him. The awakening has begun, it said. The universe must evolve or end. Suddenly, beams of light shot from the throne, wrapping around Ryan, lifting him into the air. Ilara screamed his name, but the light was too bright. Ryan's body shook violently, his mind filled with data. Stars, maps, voices, and screams. He saw Earth burning, cities collapsing, humans fighting machines. But he also saw hope, a future where both worked together. Stop. He shouted, but his voice was two voices now. Human and machine, the core's voice thundered. Embrace what you are, or humanity will be erased. Ryan struggled. His mind split in two. He saw Ilara below, tears streaming down her face. Ryan, fight it, she cried. You're human. Remember who you are. Her words echoed in his head. Like a spark in the darkness, the glow around him flickered. The core's power wavered. System instability detected, it said. Ryan roared with pain and defiance, breaking free from the light, crashing to the ground. He lay there, breathing hard, his body steaming, his eyes dim but alive. The core spoke again, its tone colder. You cannot fight evolution. Ryan stood slowly. Watch me, he said, his voice low but full of fire. He turned to Ilara, his face pale but determined. We have to destroy it, he said. She nodded. But how? He looked at the glowing throne. Sparks flying around it. By finishing what it started, he said. The machines around them stirred again. Their eyes flashing red, the core's voice rose. Contain the vessel, Ryan clenched his fists. Energy pulsing through him like lightning. No, he said with a smirk. Humanity doesn't kneel. The chamber erupted in chaos, machines charging from every direction. Ryan's eyes flared bright blue, and he raised his hand, unleashing a storm of energy that tore through metal and light. The awakening had begun, and humanity's fight for survival was far from over. Asterisk smoke filled the air as the underground chamber burned with blue fire. Broken machines sparked and twitched. Ryan stood in the middle of the chaos, his body shaking, his eyes still glowing faintly. Dr. Ilara rushed to his side. Ryan, are you okay? She asked breathlessly. He looked at his hands, covered in glowing dust. I don't know what's happening to me anymore, he whispered. The core's voice echoed faintly from the cracked walls. You cannot escape the awakening, it said. Ryan clenched his jaw. Watch me, he muttered. He grabbed Ilara's hand, and they ran through the collapsing tunnels. The ground trembling under their boots, metal shards falling from above like deadly rain. After what felt like hours, they finally emerged into the jungle again. The red sky above was darker now, filled with glowing storm clouds. Ryan collapsed against a rock, his breathing heavy. The blue light under his skin fading slowly. Ilara knelt beside him, scanning his vitals. Your system is changing, she said quietly. The nanotech is still rewriting you. Ryan looked up at the stormy sky. The core wanted to connect me, he said slowly. To something bigger. Ilara frowned. Connect you to what? He turned toward her. His voice low. A signal, he said. It's out there. Calling, she followed his gaze, far on the horizon. A beam of light shot into the clouds. It pulsed every few seconds like a heartbeat. That's the signal, she whispered. Ryan nodded. That's where this all began, he said. They started walking again, the jungle around them glowing faintly. Strange eyes watching from the darkness, Sometimes Ryan felt the ground vibrate beneath him, like invisible machines moving under the surface. He tried to ignore it, but the connection inside him grew stronger. He could feel the signal calling his name after hours of trekking. They reached a cliff overlooking a valley. In the center stood a massive metal tower, miles tall, surrounded by ruins and mechanical roots spreading like veins. The beam of light came straight from its peak. Reaching into the sky, Ilara stared in awe. "It's beautiful and terrifying," she said. Ryan nodded. "It's also a weapon," he said quietly. Ilara looked at him, confused. "How do you know that?" she asked. He touched his temple. "Because it's in my head," he said. "The cord downloaded everything into me before I broke free." He closed his eyes. Flashes of data filled his mind, images of human ships, laboratories and soldiers he saw. The emblem of Earth's command, and behind it, secret documents stamped with a single word, Project Helix. Ryan's heart pounded. "They did this," he said in disbelief. "Earth created this experiment. They built the core, the machines." Everything. Ilara shook her head. "That's impossible. The ruins here are thousands of years old." Ryan looked at her. "Or maybe Earth wasn't the first to fall," he said. Lightning cracked across the sky, and the tower responded. Sending pulses through the ground, the machines in the valley stirred, waking up one by one, their eyes turning bright red. "It's reacting to me," Ryan said. The air around him buzzing with energy. Ilara grabbed his arm. "Ryan, if you go near that thing, it'll kill you," she warned. He looked down at her with calm eyes. "If I don't, it'll reach Earth," he said. "That's what the signal is doing. It's calling home," she gasped. "You mean it's sending the nanotech code to Earth?" He nodded. "And once it connects, humanity won't stand a chance." They needed a plan. Ilara scanned the area, finding an access path down the cliff. "If we overload the tower's power core, maybe it'll collapse," she suggested. Ryan smirked faintly. "You make it sound easy," she smiled weakly. "You make it sound impossible." As they descended into the valley, Ryan's connection grew stronger. His vision flickered, showing both reality and data overlays. Every tree, every stone appeared tagged with alien symbols. He whispered, "It's showing me everything." Like a map, Ilara followed closely. "Then use it," she said. "We need every advantage." When they reached the base of the tower, the ground pulsed with light. Metallic vines moved like snakes. The machines surrounding it stopped moving and turned their heads toward Ryan, their voices merging in unison. "Vessel, you have returned. Initiate convergence." Ryan's voice cracked. "I'm not your vessel," he shouted. "I'm human." The machines tilted their heads. "Humanity is obsolete," they replied, raising their weapons, blue light charging at their cores. Ryan raised his hand instinctively, and a shockwave exploded from his body, throwing the machines backward like leaves in the wind. Ilara shielded her face. "Ryan," she yelled, "you just took out half of them." He stood still, breathing heavily. "I didn't even try," he said in disbelief. "It's like the power reacts to my emotions." She nodded. "Then stay angry." They ran toward the tower entrance. A huge metallic gate carved with alien runes. Ryan touched it, and it opened instantly. Recognizing his energy, inside, the walls glowed with streams of light. Thousands of tiny machines floating like dust. Whispering voices filled the air. "Join us, vessel. Complete the code." Ilara held onto his arm. "Don't listen," she warned. He nodded, clenching his fists. "I'm done being their puppet," he said, his voice hard as they moved deeper inside. The hall led to a massive chamber with a single glowing sphere floating in the center. "That's the core of the signal," Ilara said, scanning it. "If we overload it, the tower will collapse." Ryan looked at it, his pulse syncing with the sphere's rhythm. "Or it'll overload me instead," he said grimly. He stepped closer, placing his hand on the sphere. The light surged through him. His eyes turned completely blue. His voice echoed in two tones. "Connection established," Ilara screamed. "Ryan, fight it." He gritted his teeth. "I'm trying," he growled. Electricity crackled around him. The tower shook violently. The machines outside screamed as their systems went haywire. Ilara ran to the control panel, typing furiously, "If I reroute the energy." "I can cut the link," she shouted. Ryan yelled, "Do it fast." The ground split apart. Flames of blue energy shot upward, the entire valley glowing. Ryan screamed in agony, but he didn't let go. "You want a signal?" he shouted through the pain. "Then take this." And with one final burst of energy, he sent a shockwave through the tower, shattering the sphere. The explosion lit up the sky like a new sun. The machines froze, their lights fading one by one. The beam to the clouds vanished. Silence followed. Ryan fell to his knees. Smoke rising from his body, Ilara ran to him. "Ryan?" "Talk to me," she whispered. He opened his eyes weakly. "The signal's down," he said. But something answered before it died. Ilara frowned. "What do you mean?" she asked. Ryan looked up at the now quiet sky. His voice barely a whisper. "Earth heard us," he said. And the screen fades to black. Asterisk, the storm had passed, the tower was gone, and the valley was silent again. Blue ash floated in the air like snow. Ryan lay on the ground, his body half burned. Faint blue light still glowing under his skin. Dr. Ilara knelt beside him, her face covered with dust, her hands shaking. "Ryan, wake up," she whispered. His chest rose slowly. His eyes opened, glowing faintly. "I'm alive," he said weakly. Ilara smiled with relief. But her heart was still pounding. "You stopped the signal," she said. Ryan nodded slowly. "Yeah. But not in time," he said, his voice hoarse. "Someone heard it?" She frowned. "Who?" Ryan turned his gaze toward the sky. "Earth," he said. "They know everything now." They sat in silence, the jungle around them glowing faintly in the aftermath. Ryan's mind was full of static, fragments of alien code mixing with his memories. He saw flashes of his old life, the briefing room, the commander's voice, the mission orders. Recover the alien tech, bring it home. He clenched his fists, his body trembling. Ilara noticed. "Ryan?" "What's wrong?" she asked. He looked at her with pain in his eyes. "We were never explorers, Ilara," he said slowly. "We were test subjects." Her eyes widened. "What?" he continued. "Earth Command knew about the nanotech. They wanted someone who could merge with it. They sent me here to become the experiment." Ilara shook her head in disbelief. "No, that can't be true," she said. "We were told this was a rescue mission." Ryan's voice hardened. "A rescue mission for technology, not for people," he said. He looked up at the sky again. "They used us." The radio on Ilara's wrist suddenly crackled to life. A voice came through the static. "Captain Ryan, this is Earth's command. We have received your signal. Report your status." Ryan's heart froze. The voice was calm, cold, and familiar. "That's Commander Holt," he whispered. Ilara looked at him nervously. "What are you going to say?" Ryan pressed the come button, his voice steady. "This is Ryan. Mission compromised, alien technology active. Core neutralized." There was a pause. Then Holt's voice replied, "Acknowledged. Proceed to extraction point for pickup." And Captain, his tone shifted darker. "Don't let the scientists interfere." The signal cut. Elara stared at him, her face pale. "What did he mean by that?" she asked quietly. Ryan's expression turned grim. "They want me back, but not you," he said. "You know too much." Elara shook her head. "No, they wouldn't." He looked at her sadly. "You still believe they care." They started walking toward the extraction point. A flat open field covered in glowing moss in the distance. A faint blue light pulsed a human beacon. The sound of approaching engines filled the air. A shuttle descending from the clouds. Elara felt a wave of relief. "We're going home," she said softly. Ryan didn't answer. He kept staring at the ship with narrowed eyes. When it landed, soldiers in black armor stepped out. Their visors glowing red. They carried plasma rifles and moved with cold precision. One of them saluted. "Captain Ryan, orders are to escort you aboard immediately." Ryan frowned. "And her?" he asked. The soldier looked at Elara. "She's not on the list." Alara's heart sank. "Ryan," she whispered. He turned to the soldier. "She's coming with me." The soldier hesitated. "Negative, sir." Command was clear. "Only you." Ryan's voice grew colder. "That's an order." The soldier raised his weapon slightly. "I'm sorry, Captain," he said. "You're not in command anymore." In an instant, Ryan's eyes flashed blue. His body tensed. The nanotech within him reacting to danger. The air vibrated. The soldiers pointed their weapons. But before they could fire, a shockwave burst from Ryan, throwing them backward. Weapons flying from their hands. Elara ducked behind a rock, shouting, "Ryan, stop." He stood there, breathing heavily. His voice echoing with two tones again. "They lied to us," he said. His anger burning like fire. "They made me this thing. And now they want to control me." The soldiers scrambled to their feet. One shouted into his comm. "Command, target is hostile." Ryan raised his hand, blue lightning arcing between his fingers. "You wanted the weapon," he growled. "Here it is." He unleashed a wave of energy. The ground exploded beneath the soldiers, their armor melting under the blast. Elara ran toward him, grabbing his arm. "Ryan, please stop." "This isn't you," she cried. He looked at her. His expression torn between rage and pain. "I can't stop it," he said. "The more I fight, the more it takes over." She cupped his face. "Then fight for who you are," she whispered. He closed his eyes, his breathing slowing. The glow under his skin dimmed. He stepped back from the fire. "They'll keep coming," he said quietly. "And next time, they'll bring bigger guns." Elara nodded. "Then we'll be ready." But before they could move, the shuttle speakers came alive. Commander Holt's voice boomed. "Ryan, you've become exactly what we needed." Ryan froze. Looking up, "You turned me into a monster," he shouted. Holt laughed coldly. "No, we turned you into the future." Elara grabbed Ryan's arm. "We have to go, now," she said, but the ground beneath them began to glow again. Bright blue lights spreading like cracks. "They're locking onto us," Ryan shouted. "They're trying to teleport me." He pushed Elara away. "Run." He yelled. She refused. "Not without you." He smiled sadly. "You'll find me. I promise." His body started to disintegrate into particles of light. Holt's voice echoed through the static. "Welcome home, Captain." Elara screamed his name. But in seconds, he was gone. The shuttle vanished too. Leaving behind only silence and smoke, she fell to her knees. Tears streaming down her face, whispering, They took him far above the clouds, in orbit around Nereth Prime. Ryan materialized inside a containment chamber, surrounded by soldiers and glowing monitors. Commander Holt stood outside, smiling coldly. "Welcome back." "Project Helix," he said. Ryan's eyes opened slowly, glowing bright blue, and his voice, now both human and machine, whispered, "You made a mistake." The air inside the station was cold and metallic. Bright white lights flickered against the steel walls. Captain Ryan stood inside a glass containment chamber. Thick cables connected to his arms and chest, his body glowing faintly blue under the surface. Commander Holt watched him from behind the glass, a cruel smile curling on his lips. "You've done well, Captain," he said. "You became exactly what we hoped for." Ryan's eyes opened slowly, glowing brighter than before, his voice calm but sharp. "You turned me into a weapon," he said. Holt chuckled softly. "No, Ryan. We revealed your true potential." He turned toward a group of scientists standing beside him. "Begin synchronization," he ordered. Machines hummed loudly. Lights on the walls turned red. Streams of data flowed through the cables attached to Ryan. His body stiffened, his veins lit up. Energy crackled in the air. System initializing. "Neural link complete," a computer voice said. Holt smiled wider. "Welcome back to the network." Project Helix. Ryan clenched his fists, fighting the surge of energy trying to take control of him. "You can't control this," he growled. Holt leaned closer to the glass. "I already am," he said. "The core was just the beginning. Now you'll connect Earth's defense grid to the alien code, and together we'll rule the galaxy." Ryan's mind filled with static. Visions of machines merging with cities, human soldiers replaced by metal drones, and skies full of ships controlled by the same signal he destroyed on Nereth Prime. He could feel it spreading through him again. The same pulse, the same call. "You're destroying everything human left in me," he shouted. Holt's voice turned cold. "Humanity is weak. You're proof of that." Down below, alarms started blaring. Warning lights flashing across the station. "Unauthorized signal detected," one of the technicians shouted. Holt frowned. "What's going on?" The technician hesitated. "It's coming from the planet. Someone is overriding the link." Holt's eyes narrowed. "Elara," he hissed. On Nereth Prime, Elara stood inside the ruins of the tower, her hands shaking as she worked on a damaged console. Sparks flew as she reconnected the alien circuits. "Come on," she whispered. "Just one signal." The machine buzzed, and a faint blue light appeared. "Ryan, if you can hear me." "Fight it," she said, into the comm, her voice trembling, back in the chamber. Ryan's eyes widened, the faint sound of her voice echoing in his mind. "Elara," he whispered. Holt heard it. "Cut that transmission," he ordered, but it was too late. The nanotech inside Ryan reacted to the sound of her voice. The glow in his body flared, and the cables attached to him began to melt. Holt shouted, "Contain him." But the energy burst out of Ryan like a storm. Glass shattered, metal walls bent. Alarms screamed as the entire chamber exploded with light. Soldiers were thrown to the ground. Ryan stepped out, his body surrounded by a glowing aura. His voice deep and layered. "You used me," he said. "Now I'll end what you started." Holt drew a plasma pistol, aiming at him. "Don't be foolish, Captain. You'll die before you escape." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then I'll die human," he said. And with a flick of his hand, the gun disintegrated into dust. He looked around the control room, hundreds of screens showing Earth, its cities, its satellites, all linked to the alien code. You've already infected it, Ryan said. But I can stop it. Holt laughed. You can't stop progress. Ryan stared at him, his eyes glowing brighter. Progress doesn't mean extinction, he said. He raised his hands, energy gathering in his palms. The entire station trembled. He's overloading the core. One of the scientists shouted. Holt ran for the exit, yelling, "Shut it down!" But the systems were no longer responding. Ryan was now the network, his thoughts flowing through every wire and circuit. In orbit, the defense satellites began to turn, their lights changing from red to blue, the alien code reversing. One by one, the corrupted systems began to collapse. The nanotech signal dying, but each second burned Ryan from the inside. His body breaking apart, his voice shaking. Ilara. I'm doing it, he whispered. I'm cutting the link down on the planet. Ilara's console exploded with light, her screen filled with data. He's overwriting everything, she said in shock. He's sacrificing himself. Her voice cracked. Ryan, please stop. You'll die, but his voice came through the static, soft but calm. Humanity always sacrifices for something greater. Inside the station, Holt crawled toward a control panel, his face twisted in panic. You'll kill us all, he screamed. Ryan looked down at him. No. I'll save them, he said, and with a final surge of energy, he absorbed the entire signal into himself, the light expanding until everything turned white. Silence followed. The station drifted lifelessly in orbit, debris floating through space on the surface. The glowing tower flickered once, then went dark. Ilara stood in the ruins, staring at the empty sky, her eyes full of tears. Ryan, she whispered, you kept your promise, but then? Faintly, the air around her shimmered. A small holographic image appeared, Ryan's face smiling weakly. Ilara, his voice said, if you're seeing this, it means I'm gone, but the world is safe. Don't let them repeat my mistake. Protect humanity from itself. The image flickered and disappeared. Ilara fell to her knees, sobbing quietly, the jungle around her glowing softly as if mourning with her. She whispered, you didn't die human, Ryan. You died a hero. The wind carried her words through the silent ruins, and high above the planet, among the wreckage of the station, a small blue spark floated into the stars, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. The sky above Neroth Prime was calm for the first time in months. No storms, no signals, just the soft glow of two suns rising over the metallic jungle. Dr. Ilara stood at the edge of the ruins where the great tower once stood. Her face tired, her eyes distant, she had buried what was left of the human shuttle, built a small memorial out of crystal stones, and carved one name into it. Captain Ryan Hale. The air shimmered with golden light as the twin suns climbed higher. She whispered softly, you did it, Ryan. Her voice cracked with emotion. You saved us. But deep down, she still felt the hollow ache of loss. He had become more than just a soldier. He had become the symbol of what humanity could be. Brave, flawed, and unbreakable, every night since his death. Strange lights appeared in the sky, pulses of blue that moved like beating hearts. The survivors on the planet said it was the core's energy finally dying out. But Ilara didn't believe that. She looked up at the sky each night, convinced it was something else, a sign. Weeks turned into months. Ilara rebuilt the camp near the ruins. Collecting data from what remained of the alien technology, she worked alone. Her only company, the whispers of the wind through the glowing trees. One evening, as she recorded her final report, her scanner began to beep rapidly. She frowned, tapping the screen. No. That can't be right, she said. The readings showed a massive energy source orbiting above the planet. Same frequency as Ryan's biosignal. Her heart skipped a beat. "Ryan," she whispered. "Is that you?" She grabbed her comlink. "Connecting to the old satellite dish. If you're out there, please answer me." The static buzzed for several seconds. Then, a faint voice, broken and distant. Elara, her hands shook. "Ryan." "Oh my God, you're alive," she cried. The voice faded in and out. "Not alive, not dead. Something else?" he said slowly, his tone calm. But it echoed with a strange vibration, half human, half machine. "They tried to erase me, but the code evolved." Elara covered her mouth in shock. "You became the signal," she whispered, above the planet. Among the debris of the destroyed station, a new form drifted between the stars. A body made of light and metal, shaped like a man. Eyes glowing the color of the nebula around him. It was Ryan, or what he had become, a being of energy and consciousness. Connected to every machine fragment floating in space, "I stopped the spread," he said. His voice coming through every device in the camp. "Earth is safe, for now." But something changed. Elara's eyes filled with tears. "Changed how?" she asked. "The alien code wasn't just a weapon," he said. "It was a seed meant to evolve whoever bonded with it. I became part of it, and now it listens to me." Elara stepped outside the camp. Staring up at the sky, "Can you come back?" she asked softly. Silence followed for a moment. Then his voice, heavy and distant. "Not yet. My body's gone, but my mind remains." Connected to everything here, she shook her head. "There has to be a way," she said. "I'll find it. I promise." Ryan's voice grew faint. "You always were the hopeful one," he said gently. "But listen, Elara, Earth won't stop. They'll come again, and next time, they won't be looking for help. They'll be looking for control." She clenched her fists. "Then we'll be ready," she said. Determination burning in her voice. The wind picked up, blowing through the ruins like a whisper. The glowing plants around her pulsed with faint blue light, responding to Ryan's presence. "I'm still here," he said softly, "watching, waiting." His tone carried a strange calm. "But the universe is waking up, Elara. Other worlds, other signals." The code wasn't just ours. She looked up at the sky again. "You mean there are more like you?" she asked. "Yes," he replied. "And they're listening now, far beyond the planet." Deep in space, the stars shifted. Faint signals flickered in distant systems. Thousands of tiny pulses echoing Ryan's frequency, spreading like ripples through the void. The alien code that once tried to destroy humanity was now part of him. And he was spreading something new. Human consciousness, courage, and will back on the planet. Elara stood at the memorial stone, her hand resting on Ryan's name. "You said humanity fights back," she whispered. "And you are right." The stone glowed faintly under her touch. A soft blue light forming around her hand. "Then, let's fight together," she said. Ryan's voice came through one last time, clear and calm. "Always," he said. The sky filled with streaks of light. Thousands of machine fragments rising from the planet. Drawn to the stars, each glowing with a human heartbeat. Elara watched in awe as they ascended, forming a massive shape in orbit. A new fleet, forged from alien metal and human spirit. In that moment, she realized Ryan wasn't gone. He had become something far greater, a guardian of humanity. A living network of willpower and memory. She smiled through her tears. "Goodbye, Ryan," she said softly. Or maybe not goodbye. The wind carried her words upward, blending into the shimmering sky high above, among the stars. The shape solidified a colossal figure of light standing against the darkness. Ryan's voice echoed through the cosmos, deep and powerful. Humanity will never kneel. His eyes glowed like twin suns, his presence stretching across galaxies. For we are the storm that never dies. The camera pulled back slowly, showing Nearath Prime glowing beneath him, and then farther, past the stars. As the faint pulse of blue light spread across the universe like a living heartbeat. A whisper of courage, a spark of defiance. A promise that no machine or God could ever erase. And in that endless expanse of silence, one voice remained, steady and eternal. "This is Captain Ryan Hale," it said, "and humanity is still here."